Welcome back. Iowa has a big-time history with rock and roll, especially during the heyday of ballrooms across the state when they were packed to see the stars of the day.
KTIV's Clayton Anderson saw some of that history still alive at the Iowa Rock and Roll Association Hall of Fame Museum. It's in Arnold Park, and he has more in this episode of Hometown History.
The museum showcases how Iowa has a big-time history in the state with big-time stars.
The Iowa Rock and Roll Music Association was founded in 1987 by John Senn and Tom Tourville. And their dream was to honor rock and roll music and those musicians who entertain us.
The Hall of Fame started inducting individuals and bands in 1997. Since then, there have been a number of performers, composers, disc jockeys, bands, and venues that have been inducted. In 2003, two big-time stars were inducted, and Keith Knutson, who performed for the Doobie Brothers and was born in Le Mars, and the band the Everly Brothers, who spent their childhood in Shenandoah, Iowa, where they started playing on KMA and KFNF radio. This is just a couple examples of the history preserved and honored at the museum.
Behind me, you can see the Roof Garden. The Roof Garden was originally established in 1923 and had its heyday in the 50s and 60s by hosting many big-time acts of the era.
Acts such as the Beach Boys and the Byrds stopped at the Roof Garden, and now their stories are immortalized through artifacts and videos inside the museum. But the original lakefront building was closed in the late 80s, and now a new venue honoring the past and promoting the future with live concerts is present under the same name on the lakefront in Arnold's Park. One of the goals of the museum and the Hall of Fame is not only to educate the past, but also inspire the future to continue with music education and performing.
Those who have a particular interest in wanting to further their artistic talent, or we want them to have those resources. We want them to be able to find an avenue for that passion.
The Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducts a Hall of Fame class every year and has a record on hand at the museum. In Arnold's Park, Iowa, Clayton Anderson, KTIV News 4.